Namaskar everyone. Can you see us? Are we visible to you? Can you hear us? Wave or like? Okay, yes, people say yes. Okay, so many are joining right now. Okay, so we are live and we will be starting like in another minute as we gave 5 as the time. Great. Yes, so many people are joining. So tell us from where you are. I see some are from Kolkata, some from Assam. Maharaji is with us for special session. Vivek Vani has also joined. Welcome. Oh, he says Pranam Maharaji. Okay. Okay, so we are about to start. And we are 5. Yes, Maharaji. So we can start. I will ask Maharaji to start the session and he will take over. And one more thing I will say that once Maharaji takes the satsang, then you can put up the questions by then in the comment section and then I will take the questions and some of them which Maharaji will answer. Okay, so write your questions that you have in the live chat. Understood everyone? Okay. So over to you Maharaji, we can start now.
Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Surai Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swami Netapaharini. Namaste everybody and thanks to Vivekananda Speaks. We are on this channel today. It's a first time for me. I think I've never done it in this mode earlier. I'm glad to see so many of you joining. What I propose to do is that I'll speak for a few minutes on what Swami Vivekananda said about spiritual life and then we can discuss. It's much nicer to take questions and discuss it. So Swami Vivekananda, all of what he taught, all of what he did had one purpose only: to take the human to the divine, to connect the human to the divine, to take man to God. Just like his master Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda's message was very simple. The goal of life is God realization. He put it in this way that we already are divine. The goal is to realize this and manifest it in our day-to-day life. In other words, he said that his mission in life is to teach unto humanity their inner divinity and how to make it manifest in life. How do you do that? And there comes Swami Vivekananda's entire teaching of the yogas. All the spiritual paths in different, in the variety of spiritual paths that you get in religion, he classified them into 4 yogas. We all know Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga and Karma Yoga. In fact, the logo of the Ramakrishna Mission which you see, that is the meaning. That logo actually was designed in New York, in the Vedanta Society of New York. One day, the story is that one day a printer who was about to print one of Swami Vivekananda's lectures in a pamphlet, he came and I asked Swamiji that it would be nice if we have some kind of a logo or a design. And Swami Vivekananda, he quickly scratched something on a piece of paper and he tossed it aside across the table to the printer and said, "Draw it to scale." Now people asked the meaning of that and he explained that the rising sun is it's emblematic of knowledge, Jnana Yoga. The wavy waters, it symbolizes Karma Yoga, work. The lotus which is blooming, it shows Bhakti Yoga. And the whole thing is encircled by the serpent, which shows Kundalini or Raja Yoga, the power of focus or power of concentration. And by all of this, by knowledge and devotion and work and concentration, one realizes God, which is shown as the Hamsa in the middle, Paramahamsa. So that's the goal. Whatever we do in life, basically that's what we are aiming at. Whether we know it or not, we are moving towards that infinitude, our real nature, call it God, or call it our real self. But if we do it deliberately, it is called yoga. So, Jnana Yoga is, Swami Vivekananda says, do it by philosophy. Philosophy here means not speculative thinking, but an inquiry into who am I. Since the claim is that we already are Brahman, our real nature is the Atman, Satchidananda, why is it that we are not able to experience it? So the reason is that we are ignorant of it. So ignorance has only one solution, and that is knowledge. That if we are ignorant, if it's true that we are ignorant of our real nature, of ourselves, then we must inquire into who we are, into who am I, and how we will inquire, that is given in Vedanta. Many methods are there. Trigdrishya Viveka, Panchakosha Viveka, Avasthatraya Vichara, and so on. Multiple methods are there. You take up any method or more than one method and inquire and realize that we are not the body, not the mind. Body and mind are there, but we are pure consciousness. And this pure consciousness is the reality of the universe, mind, body, entire external universe, all are manifestations of this one pure consciousness. And that we are, Tattvamasi or Aham Brahmasmi. You realize that. That is freedom from bondage, your realization of our real nature. Another way is, if we find it so difficult to inquire and to realize that I am Brahman, we can take it from, as if from outside, we can, instead of trying to see who we are, let us see that Brahman as God and worship God, have devotion to God, bhakti. That also will take us to moksha, to spiritual realization. Another way is through meditation. Here the paradigm is, the problem which stops us from realizing who we are is the restlessness of the mind. If we could calm the mind, focus the mind deeply through meditation, we will realize we are not the body-mind, we are the witness consciousness. That's also realization. That is the yogic method. And finally, Swami Vivekananda gave special importance to work. I think this is what is a unique feature of Swami Vivekananda's teachings on yoga. Traditionally, acharyas had said work is important, but always subsidiary. It is a preparatory discipline. Karma yoga is beginning, and then some acharyas taught the importance of bhakti, some of dhyana, some of jnana. But Vivekananda said karma itself is one of the primary yogas. And by selfless work, by work dedicated to the worship of God, Shiva Jnana Jiva Seva, by knowing that the ones we are so-called helping, we are actually serving, this is the worship of God. The serving all living beings is the worship of God, and through that one can realize God. And Vivekananda, he said, by any one of them you can realize God, but he advocated a combination, a harmony of these four yogas. Actually, in Sanatana Dharma, in most of the traditional teachings, in Advaita Vedanta, Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita, in most of the approaches, all four yogas are present, but they are organized in a kind of hierarchy. For example, in Shankara's approach, Karma Yoga is preliminary for Chitta Shuddhi, Bhakti and Dhyana will give us the focus of mind, Chitta Ekagrata, and finally Jnana will give us Moksha. It will remove ignorance and we will realize who we are, and that is Moksha. But all four are there, all four yogas are there. Similarly also in Ramanuja, but the arrangement, the hierarchy is different. So Vivekananda says, whatever the hierarchy is, all four are necessary. We are all able to think, so Jnana Yoga is possible for us. We are all able to work, so Karma Yoga is possible for us. We all feel, we have emotions, so Bhakti Yoga is possible for us. And we all can meditate and focus. We should, that is, Raja Yoga is possible for us. So, this is in a nutshell Swami Vivekananda's entire teaching. You find in that logo of the Ramakrishna order, the swan swimming in the water, the lotus blooming, the sun rising in the background, and the Kundalini encircling, the snake encircling the whole thing. The entire teaching of the four yogas that is given there in that logo. Alright, let's see. We can take a lot of questions are coming in. I think
yes, Maharaji, a lot of questions are coming. I'm noting them now.
Yes.
Okay, so we take some questions, Maharaji.
Yes.
So first is Ashish, he's from Nepal.
Yes.
So he's asking that he has read Swamiji's Raj Yoga. Okay, so he's asking, is it dangerous to practice that Raj Yoga by self, just by reading it from Swamiji's book?
No, not at all. In fact, Raja Yoga was the first book I read when I was a school boy. I was very fascinated by Raja Yoga. Yes, and Raja Yoga was the first book that Swami Vivekananda wrote. It was written in New York, and he dictated his commentaries on the Yoga Sutras, and it was taken down by an American disciple, and notes were taken, and that became the book, Raja Yoga. Is it dangerous to read and practice? Not at all. One can read it and practice. Only one thing is, there is in the Ashtanga Yoga, one of the steps is pranayama. Pranayama is the practice of breath control. Breath control is done to concentrate the mind. You notice that when we are excited, angry, breathing becomes fast. When we are sleepy or sick, not feeling well, you will see breathing becomes heavy. But when we are very concentrated, the breathing is even and through both nostrils. So there is a link, a correlation between our thinking, our state of the body, prana and the mind, and the breathing. So what the yogis found was, if they could control the breathing, they could control the mind. Directly controlling the mind may be very difficult, but breathing we can control. So by control of the breath, mind is brought under control. Now what do you mean control of the breath? It means rhythmic breathing, which has three parts. The in-breath is puraka, then holding the breath kubbhaka, and then releasing the breath, that is rechaka. Now the length of the in-breath, how many counts? Then length of the holding the breath kumbhaka, how many counts? And releasing the breath, how many counts? So this constitutes one pranayama. There is a certain proportion to it. That kumbhaka, holding the breath, there can be some danger there. It can have, if it is not done properly, it can have a damaging effect on the body and the mind. I have myself seen at least a couple of cases where people have actually become mentally unbalanced by overdoing the kumbhaka. It's better to learn it from a yoga teacher. Any Hatha yoga teacher can teach you proper pranayama. That much only. Otherwise, one can practice sitting and meditation. Many of the things which Swamiji has taught in the Raja Yoga can all be practiced by yourself.
Right, Manaji. So next question is from Sayotana, and he's from Kolkata, and he says, I just wanted to ask, what is Sat and Asat, and how to distinguish in our day-to-day lives?
Philosophically, metaphysically, Sat means existence. Sat means real, true, what is reality itself. So all around us we see existing things, that is Sat. Only thing is, these existing things, they are all things, like tables and chairs, human beings, everything in this universe, from small insects up to elephants and whales, from a blade of grass up to mountains, planets and stars, all are temporary. They are created, they exist for some time, and then they disappear. So, real permanent existence is only one according to Advaita Vedanta, and that is called Brahman or Atman, and that is called Sat. So that's the deep philosophical meaning of the word Sat. That which has no existence at all, that is called Asat. So for example, a square circle has no existence. In classical Sanskrit language, you will find example of Bandhyaputra, a son of a barren woman. So barren woman, a woman who has not given birth to any son, then the son of the barren woman by definition does not exist. No such thing is there. So that's an example. Asat is that which does not exist. Now, there is another category called Mithya. Mithya means neither Sat nor Asat. It is not permanent existence, ultimate existence like Brahman, or nor is it non-existent. So like this world which we are experiencing. Now, you can see this video, the picture which is appearing. It is not that it does not exist. The picture is there. But in the picture, actually, you can see the Swami, you can see the Almirah, you can see the books. But in the picture, there is no Swami, there is no Almirah, there is no books. They are just a picture. So the picture can be called a representation or a mithya, in the sense that it is an appearance. So three things are before you. Sat, ultimate reality Brahman, Asat, completely non-existence, and Mithya means appearing to exist but does not really exist. It appears to be something. Now, in day-to-day life, Sat and Asat will be what we practically call truth and falsity. So, what is true, what is real, one should stick to that, one should try to uphold that in one's action and in one's thought. One is aiming to realize the ultimate truth, want to realize Brahman, which is Sat itself. But if in day-to-day life, if I tell lies, if I resort to dishonesty, then there is a great gap between what I am ultimately aiming at and what my life is right now. So we should try to close the gap. We should try to bring in truth, hold on to truth in our life. That is Sat in our life, or Satya, and give up Asat or Mithya in our life, in our conduct, in our speech. So Sri Ramakrishna put it very simply. He said, Mon mukh ek kara. Whatever is in my mind and whatever I say, there should not be a difference. For that does not mean you will keep on saying what is coming in your mind. That is crazy. But what it means is one should not deceive. One should not be deceptive, thinking one thing and saying something else. That should not be there. That's a simple practice, that to say true to oneself. What one thinks, one should say. Yes.
Yes, Maharaji. So the next question is from Debanjali Sen. So she says, Namaste Maharaji. She is asking how to increase the intensity and duration of japa, and how to reach the state of ajapa japa. Any suggestions regarding this, please, that we can easily implement in our daily lives?
First is to do the japa regularly. That means you sit for 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the evening. Start like that, as the Guru has suggested. At least 2 times in a day, seriously try to focus intensely with seriousness. You see, lock the mind. Lock the mind. Lock the mind means what? That I tell the mind in 3 things: time, space and object. Kala, Desha and Vastu. In these 3 things, I will lock the mind. How? I tell the mind that from this time to this time, next 30 minutes, from this point to this point, 30 minutes, you will only do japa. So that is locking the mind in time. From this time to this time, mind is locked. You will not do anything else. Oh my mind, only the spiritual practice japa will be done. Lock it in space. Tell the mind, I am going to focus here in the center of the chest, in the lotus chakra in the chest, where I am going to visualize and focus. The mind is going to be locked in this space. You will not go there, here, anywhere else in the world. Wherever the mind wants to go, bring it back. It is locked in space. It will not go out of this space. Then lock the mind in object. The form of the Ishta Devata, you visualize in the luminous form the Ishta Devata. So that is locked in object. You tell, oh my mind, you will think of this object only. You will think of this only. You will visualize this only. Nothing else. Of course, mind will go here and there. But now you have made up your mind. You have taken a sankalpa. So according to that sankalpa, bring the mind back to the object. Bring the mind back to this space. And keep the mind on japa during this time. Now this has to be increased slowly over time. You can increase it to 45 minutes, 1 hour. You can increase the number of the japa from the minimum morning and evening. Make it, then increase it. Make it a few hundred, make it 1,000, make it 2,000, 3,000, like that, as much as you can. And finish the japa. Be determined. Do it with bhava, with love. If the feeling of bhava, the feeling of love does not come, then even mechanically also one can do it, but do it. As we do it over time, our the taste for japa will increase. If later on, if you reduce it suddenly, you will miss it. If you feel you are missing it, good. You are on the right track. A taste has been created. It's the most valuable thing. So that's how you increase the amount of the japa. At other times, during the day, throughout the day, one can repeat. One can repeat, and one should repeat the mantra mentally. After all, the japa is a thought. And we have thousands and thousands of thoughts in the mind. Most of them unconscious, just the habitual repetition of some pattern of thinking. And most of it is worthless. Just think. the thoughts which I am having and the japa, Ishta mantra, among these two, which one is more valuable? You will find the name of God is valuable. I can't think of any other thought. Maybe at some time some urgent thought may be necessary, some work or some kind of duty. But otherwise, no other thought is actually as valuable as the mantra, the Ishta Devatas, thought of the Ishta Devata. So why not think the most valuable thought? At moment to moment, you can take a decision. Will I think those things or this one, the mantra? And mentally keep on repeating the mantra as much as possible. If you find that you have forgotten, I don't remember, don't worry, immediately start. Start again. Whatever we eat, think that during eating I'm going to repeat the mantra. In some way, some mechanical acts, you're going in a journey, you're sitting in a car or a bus, you can repeat the mantra when you're not doing anything else. During mechanical tasks, washing the dishes, we can repeat the mantra. So in many occasions are there throughout the day to mentally repeat the mantra. So in this way, keep a current of the mantra going in the background, and when it is again time for sitting in the evening, then that current will become, you'll see at that time japa and dhyana will become much easier if I have been doing it throughout the day.
Okay, that is wonderful, Maharaji. Next is Shishu Shubh. He says, Maharaj Pranam, I am a volunteer teacher for communication skills in English and English grammar at Sarada Ramakrishna Vidya Mandir, Indore. So he's asking that students there lack a lot of concentration. So is there any way that he can help them? He needs guidance over that.
Yes. Now teachers and guardians all over the world are saying that there is a crisis of concentration, crisis of focus, especially in classrooms. They find children these days are very distracted. Most of them have access to these phones, digital media. So they keep on entertaining themselves, keep on getting distracted over these media throughout the day. And so when they are asked in the classroom to sit and listen to a talk or listen to a lesson, they naturally get bored. Within minutes they get bored and they become very restless. There are many methods. One method is active studying. So when you are teaching something, make sure you can vary it. Few minutes of talk, writing, using teaching aids. Then, so if you vary the method, that keeps the student's attention alive. Another is to engage the student. Every now and then, ask questions, talk with the student. Another one way of keeping the attention is to tell a story, because if you tell an interesting story, the student has to listen from the beginning to the end. So a tendency to listen for a while will be there. Another thing is activity of the students. So you have to keep their hands busy. Tell them to write, to draw, to take notes. In multiple ways, engage. Student make it active learning, storytelling, multiple modalities. That means writing, speaking, drawing, using multimedia, whatever ways of engaging their senses and the powers of the student's mind. So in this way, one can engage. It's actually a difficult task nowadays because children are restless. Now I think children are more restless than before.
Right. Okay. So next question is, people are asking Maharaji, Nirmala ji is asking that, Namaskar Maharaji, I'm Nirmala Roy from Hooghly. So she says that my question is that, does heaven and hell really exist, or is it only in our minds? And what is actually the definition of Pap and Punya? What does this really mean?
Yes, heaven and hell really do exist. Often we think that those are imaginations. But as long as we consider this particular life to be real, and most of us we consider it to be real, to that extent heaven and hell exist. This is a kind of experience, this mortal life, and after death we will have another kind of experience. If that experience is very pleasant, it is called a heaven. If it is very unpleasant, we call it a hell. So in that sense it does exist. However, from an Advaitic perspective, that heaven and that hell and even this present life, they are all appearances. The reality is Brahman. So if we ask ultimately, according to Vedanta, what really exists? What really exists is Brahman. What really exists is the Atman. For practical purposes, Vyavaharika, yes, this world is there where we are sitting and talking about Vedanta through this new technology and communications. Yes, after death, some kind of experience will be there. You call it heaven, hell, something will be there. So, in that sense, yes, it does exist. And Papa and Punya, so what if we deliberately do what is moral, that generates an effect called Punya, merit. If we deliberately, even if the choice is there, we choose to do wrong things which we know are wrong, then there will be an effect that is called Papa. And the result of that Punya is that sometime in life, usually in the next life, we will get something pleasant, some kind of happiness. And the result of Papa is we'll get something unpleasant, some kind of shock, some kind of dukkha, suffering. In this life also, right now also we're getting nice things and sometimes unpleasant things. Sometimes good things are happening, sometimes kicks and blows are coming. Those are due to our past Papa and Punya. All the good that we have come is giving rise to pleasant experiences, and all the mischief that we may have committed, though we have forgotten all of it, but the effects are surely coming. Na bhuktam kshiyate karma. Without giving its results and without experiencing the results of karma, karma does not die. Karma is not destroyed. Karma goes away only after it gives its results and we experience the results. So that's the doctrine of karma. Remember, spirituality is going beyond the doctrine of karma. Don't be too much concerned with karma. I find many people are very fascinated by karma. Karma is causality, cause and effect. Everything that we do, there is an effect. That is the result of karma. And everything that we are experiencing had a cause. That is the karma which generated this effect. However, spirituality is going beyond causality. Spirituality is going beyond karma. Whether karma yoga, whether bhakti yoga, whether raja yoga, whether jnana yoga, all of it takes you beyond karma. Ishvara, Bhagavan himself is beyond karma. And our real nature is beyond karma. Remember Vivekananda's famous lines from the Song of the Sannyasi. Good, good, bad, bad, none escape the law. So that's the law of karma. Good karma, result is good. Bad karma, result is bad. And no one will escape this law. So this is the law of karma. And if you cannot escape the law, then how will you get freedom? What is the use of Vedanta then? Vivekananda says, whosoever wears a form, wears the chain too. Whosoever has got a body will have past karma, because of which this body has come. However, what Vedanta can do is, far beyond name and form is Atman never free. No, thou art that sannyasi bold, say Om Tat Sat Om. So, our real nature, the Atman, is beyond karma. And the only way to rise above karma is to realize that we are the Atman, we are Brahman. Once you realize that, you are beyond karma, and that being beyond karma is actually called moksha. So the way is to go from bad karma, papa, to punya karma, from papatma to punyatma, from duratma to dharmatma, and then only adhyatma, spirituality starts. So we try to go beyond that through bhakti, through jnana, through dhyana, and through seva.
Right. Thank you so much for asking that question. So Maharaji, Mosmi Chakrabarti, she says, Pranam Maharaji, please guide me on how to diminish aham, the ego. And also, is self-respect a part of aham, the ego?
Yes. That's a good question that you asked both of them together. Often in spiritual life we talk about diminishing the aham, giving up the ego. But first of all, one must have a balanced, well-developed sense of individuality, a sense of the ego also. That is, one must have a sense of confidence in oneself. One must have a sense of pride in the good things that we have got. Without having that, if it is a weak, diffident ego, feeling that I am no good, I am bad, then to say give up the ego is very difficult. One must be a balanced, well-developed person first, have a good sense of responsibility, good sense of pride and of one's own accomplishments, of one's own religion, one's own nationality. That kind of pride is good. It should be there. But then one must rise above it. One must not be limited to this one little aham. See, the aham is surrounded by the mama, ahankar and mamakar, I and mine. Aham is ego, and mine is what I consider to be mine. My property, my husband, wife, children, my people, my religion, my opinions. So, first of all, a little detachment from that, then only the sense of ego will diminish. What do you mean by sense of ego diminishing? I will not be totally identified with the ego sense. I am this. Because the truth is, I am not this ahankara. I am the witness of the ahankara. Shankaracharya sings, Mano buddha ahankara chittani naham. Mano naham, I am not the mind. Buddhi naham, I am not the intellect. Chitta, memory, I am not the memory. But also he says, ahankara naham. I am not the I. That means that I is the ego. I am the witness of the ego. I am the consciousness to which the ego appears. See, I am aware. To me, the body is appearing. I am aware. To me, thoughts and feelings are appearing. I am aware. To me, even the ego is appearing. The sense of I, that is also appearing. It's a thought. It is not the real I. So the real I, then only when you separate yourself from the real I, separate means in your understanding, you clearly see. Body is there, mind is there, thoughts are there, ego is also there, but I am not the ego. I am the witness of the ego. Then that witness of the ego, Shankaracharya says, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So yes, to sum up, first of all, as you said, a balanced, healthy ego is useful. Without that, if one is feeling inferiority complex, one feels weak and helpless, that is not good. One should have a balanced, healthy sense of ego and then try to see that one is not the ego. One should have detachment with everything is there, your possessions, your people, family, all will be there. Don't be too attached to that. The more you are attached, the more you say these are mine, the more the ego also will be strong. And then it will be difficult to detach from the ego, it will be difficult to be spiritual. The more you say all of these are there, one way of detaching from that is that all of them belong to the Lord. My money also belongs to God. All these people, they also belong to God. God himself or herself has given all of these to us. So instead of saying they are mine, mentally say they are all yours, my Lord. Then the ego gets isolated. When the ego is surrounded, it's like in a fort. The fort is one's own possessions, mine, mamakara. When you reduce that fort, then the ego gets isolated. Then that fellow can be tackled easily. And ego can be reduced, ahankara can be reduced again by the 4 yogas. Karma yoga is very powerful in reducing ahankara because we are doing all activities for the welfare of the others. Not for me, for you. Not I, but thou, my Lord. I am doing all activities for worship of God. Dhyana yoga, Raja yoga is very useful for reducing ahankara because when you still the mind, quieten the mind, then the ego sense is isolated and becomes diminutive, small, diminished. Then bhakti yoga, of course, is very useful for reducing the ahankara because we surrendered the small I before God. Not I, but thou. Not I, but you, my Lord. Then Jnana Yoga, of course, directly shows us that I am the witness of the ego. I am not the ego. All methods will work. Jnana, Bhakti, Dhyana and Karma all work in reducing the ego.
Right. Thank you, Maharajji. So, next question is asked by Chaitanya Sharma. He says, since we know the pure consciousness is actionless, then the work of identification of consciousness with body and mind is done by whom?
It's not a work. It's not that pure consciousness now decides I will become identified. It is done only by ignorance. It's not a work. The identification with the mind and the body is born out of ignorance. That when I do not know that I am pure consciousness, then I feel that I am body and mind. When I realize that I am pure consciousness, then I feel that the mind and the body are objects. Then I begin to see that automatically. And I realized that always they were objects. But somehow, because of ignorance, I felt that I did not know myself and I felt I am this body and this mind. So this identification is not a work. It is the product of ignorance, of not knowing. The only solution is to know, is to realize that I am the witness consciousness.
Right. Thank you, Maharaji. Next question is asked by Mayuri. She says that in our office day-to-day lives, we are constantly achieving some targets and goals, which is extremely essential for career growth. Now that you know that you have immense potential in achieving great heights in your career, as you are good with targets and goals, is it an endless game? How do we find a balance where we can spiritualize our office work as well? All of a sudden, not chasing numbers, feel caged. As you know, you have the potential to achieve a lot, while keeping your mind busy with office numbers also distracts you away and pulls you into the worldly affairs.
True.
How to find a balance in spiritualized work?
Don't find a balance. That office work, that chasing the numbers, chasing the targets, what your boss is telling you to achieve, it seems to be endless. Whatever you achieve, next time it will be increased again. Doesn't matter. Convert that itself into your karma yoga. That this itself is my spiritual practice. Not the profit or not the bonus which I will get, but the activity which has been given to me, that like Arjuna was fighting a war and he decided not to fight a war. Krishna told him about Vedanta. And Arjuna said, all right, I will practice Vedanta and become enlightened. Then I don't want to fight this war. Krishna said, you convert this war itself, this action itself into karma yoga. If you can convert worst action is war. Worst action is war. If that can be converted into karma yoga, then the action that you are doing in the office, that can also be converted into karma yoga internally. Internally, at the beginning of the work, say to your Ishta Devata, to Bhagavan within your heart, this work which has come to you, come to me by your grace, with the instruments of this body, this intellect, this knowledge which has been given to me by you only, I am going to perform this work. This is my puja of you. So then the work will become karma yoga. Externally, nobody will know. You are doing the same work, but you will be detached. You will be detached, you will be peaceful, you will have no regrets. See, in the worldly sense, if I am chasing targets and trying to achieve something, either I will succeed and I will feel elated, harsha, or I will fail and I will feel dejected, shoka. In either case, whether we succeed or whether we fall short of the mark, internally there won't be reaction, or it will not be much reaction, because after all, my whole objective was to worship the Lord. And I tried my best to worship the Lord through this work and every other work that I am doing outside the office also. So our life will have an integrity. Throughout the day, only one thing I am doing. Suppose I am a devotee of Krishna, of Ramachandra. If one thing only I am doing throughout the day, I am worshipping Sri Rama. So that becomes sadhana. So that's how your daily activities, internally you have to do. If you try to balance, as you said, balance is very difficult. Balance means this much of time is devoted to the worldly activities and this much of time is devoted to my japa and dhyana and study. You can do that, but that will always be a struggle, because the worldly activities will feel, why am I doing all these things? Really, why should be doing sadhana? And when you come to sadhana, you will feel there is no time or energy left over for sadhana. All my energy is gone in that office work. So in some way, we have to integrate our daily activities into our sadhana. It must become one life, not two lives, office life and spiritual life. Then it's very difficult. Office life will seem meaningless, and spiritual life will seem that there is no time, no energy, to become mechanical. Then make it one life, then you will enjoy it.
Right. Thank you, Maharaji. Now we will take this question. The name is not clear, but then the person says, how can we teach fundamentals of Vedanta to our children?
This many people ask. Do it through shlokas, making them memorize shlokas, regular activity of some daily prayer and chanting, through storybooks. Nowadays there are cartoons and stuff available. So anything that engages them. And the basic ideas of Vedanta can be inculcated. You don't have to inculcate philosophy, Students can take up, young children take up stories very nicely. So through stories and some daily activities, a little puja, little chanting, regular reading, lives of the Mahapurushas. So this is a good way of exposing children to the ideas of Vedanta.
Right, Maharaj, would you like to have some water?
Yes, thank you. Half a glass. What's the next question?
Yes, Maharaji. Next question is asked by Saswati. She says, sometimes things don't go as per our liking, but it with the people we live, be it with the people we live or with the situation we are in. How to keep the mind at peace in those situations and not affected by it?
Yes. Thank you. One way is to take whatever is coming to us as prasada buddhi. Prasada buddhi means in a puja, when you go, after the puja, somebody offers, after the food which has been offered to the Lord, it becomes prasada, the bhoga, it becomes prasada for us and we accept. Now in the prasada there may be different kinds of fruits. Some fruits, maybe I like mango and maybe I don't like guava so much. But when the prasada comes to us, for us both mango and guava are prasada. So my personal likes and dislikes don't matter so much. It has come from the Lord. It is the offering which has been given to the Lord and I take it as sacred food. Similarly, if my life is a puja, through karma yoga I am doing all activities, then the result of that karma yoga is coming to me as various experiences in life. Pleasant and unpleasant experiences. Some people behave pleasantly, some are unkind to me. Sometimes there are shocks and problems in life. So think of it that way, that all of it is prasada. The good things are also prasada, the bad things are also prasada, because they're all coming from God. And so instead of keeping one's attention on whether it is nice or not nice, pleasant or unpleasant, I like it or I don't like it, keep your attention on the fact that it is prasada. Clearly I don't like it, something unpleasant happens, someone behaves unkindly to me, unjustly towards me, and I feel aggravated. Alright, it is prasada. Maintain your serenity of mind. One way is to have this prasada buddhi in everything that is happening to us. It is the prasada of the Lord. One way is that. Another jnani's way would be witness. Just as in a dream, just as in a movie, you are really not upset. In a movie, of course, you may laugh and cry, but you know that it is a movie. Similarly, if your attitude is one of jnana, of the witness, then whatever happens to us in life, pleasant and unpleasant, you may externally also laugh and cry, but internally one should not be moved at all. One should know that this life is like a dream and I am watching this, like a dream, like a movie, I am watching this. And then be serene, be calm inside. Let nothing external defeat or reduce that internal calmness. Let that flow continuously.
Right. Thank you, Maharaji. And this is a question by Seema ji. She says, Pranam Swamiji, how do we realize we are progressing spiritually?
The more you have likings for spiritual things, pull towards God, and detachment from the world. See, worldly things matter less and less. That is a sign of spiritual progress. And you enjoy bhakti, you enjoy meditation, you enjoy Vedantic inquiry, you enjoy seva. So those things become very valuable for us. We are progressing spiritually. Sri Ramakrishna put it this way: Ishware anurag vishaya virag. Anurag, liking, love for God or anything related to God. Vishaya virag, about the world, about Vishaya. Virag is dispassion for the world, not disgust. It is that it does not pull you anymore. It's of no interest.
Right, Maharaji. So, someone is asking, Namaste Guruji, can you elaborate something related to Kundalini and its rising within us?
Yes, I don't know much about that. That is one path of spiritual development called Kundalini Yoga. And the idea is that there is a mystical energy called the Kundalini lying coiled at the lowest chakra, which is at the base of the spine. So the spiritual path is taken as the spine, not the physical spine, but through the through the spine there runs these nadis. So Ida and Pingala and Sushumna. Now at the base of that spine, there is a chakra called the Mooladhara. So there lies coiled a spiritual power, this mystical power, and it's an energy. And it lies coiled, and therefore it looks like a coiled snake, visualized as a coiled snake. Through our spiritual practices, it could be through the power of breath control, pranayama, it could be through mantra, it is through intense meditation. And there are Kundalini meditations. So that, through bhakti also it can happen. So that sleeping power is awakened and it rises. And as it rises, each of those chakras open. Now the chakras are basically nerve centers and each has tremendous potential. Variety of powers are hidden there which are not manifested in our life. Each opens. The Mooladhara, then next higher level the Swadhisthana, then the Manipura, and then the Anahata, and then the Vishuddha, then the Agya Chakra, and then finally the highest one at the crown of the head is the Sahasrara. And at each level there are developments. First there are material developments, powers of the body, mind, prana are increased, manifested. Then there is spiritual development from the Anahata, the heart chakra level. God or spiritual life becomes a reality. Atman, God, whatever you call it, you realize that it is there actually. And more manifestation happens until the Kundalini merges at the Sahasrara and you realize your true nature, your identity with Shiva. It's also seen as the union of Shiva and Shakti. So this is one paradigm of spiritual development, the Shak Chakra Bheda and rising to the 7th chakra of the Kundalini and consequent manifestation of various spiritual experiences at different levels. It's a mystical path, a tantric path. I really don't know much about it. It is not our primary path. However, I can recommend a very good article which describes the details of this path and how to meditate at each level and what will happen at each level. There's one book called Meditation According to the Monks of the Ramakrishna Order. Meditation According to the Monks of the Ramakrishna Order. In that, there is one essay on the Kundalini meditation with diagrams and with detailed instructions about each chakra, descriptions of the chakras and how to meditate, with what bhavana in the mind. All those things are given in detail.
Thank you, Maharaji. Would you like to take further questions, Maharaj?
So we'll wrap it up today. It was an unexpected pleasure, and thanks to is this channel called Vivekananda Speaks?
Yes, Maharaj.
Thanks to Vivekananda Speaks, we have all been brought together virtually. I wish you all the best. Prayers to Sri Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada and Swami Vivekananda for the welfare of all those who have gathered here virtually. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna